Okay, so this weapon just went for 321,000 N coin on the Korea server. Right now you can buy what, 4,000 N coin for 50,000 Korean won. So that translates to about, I think, $2,500 US dollars for a single weapon. Yo, but at least I got a $5 split. It's lit. One of the things that everyone wants to know when it comes down to Blade & Soul Neo is that, is this game going to be pay to win? Because the original Blade & Soul was notoriously known for being very, very pay to win. Now, the Neo version, they changed a lot of stuff. Specifically, the marketplace is only able to be accessed by using N-Coin. So every single thing here sells for N-Coin, and you can't buy stuff with gold anymore. And additionally, there's also no trading. You can't trade with other players and stuff like that. And it kind of reminds me of MapleStory Reboot a little bit. Now, of course, everyone have a different definition of pay to win. You can just straight up buy the latest weapon off the auction house. So some people will say like, oh, that's pay to win, while others say like, oh, you can still acquire this in-game. So it's more just pay to progress. I'm going to be highlighting things in this video so you guys can have your own definition. Specifically, in the intro clip, you saw this time stream weapon being on sale. This is the world boss weapon. I did a world boss, and everyone on the server was able to bid on this one weapon. There's only like one from what I saw, right? And it ended up going for like 300,000 N coin, which is something like $2,000. You can see that this weapon have 290 attack power on its base, and it comes with crit and crit damage by default, as well as like free slot and stuff like that. And for dungeon weapon, these are like RNG. So in comparison, dungeon weapon, you have two sub attribute and you have to roll them. So if I just highlight them, this one has HP and crit damage defense increase. This one has piercing and accuracy, so you have to roll for it. Oh, this one has a crit, but it has a bad second line and stuff like that. So I think this alone speaks a lot for the game. The fact that you can just bid for like a super broken OP weapon right off the bat. And I imagine like in America, when nobody has the best weapon, this weapon is going to be like super competed, right? Like every whale is going to want this weapon like frame one, and the bid is going to go insane. But I don't think that's like the worst thing for the game, because as you can see, the profit actually gets split between the player. I end up getting like 300 like Homewood coin from that boss alone, just by like hitting it like once or twice. And I was able to just go ahead and buy some of the cheaper weapon. Specifically, I was able to purchase the Siren Limb Blade, which is like the starter endgame weapon. Now, of course, one of the newest and the biggest addition in Blade & Soul Neo compared to the original is the introduction of Battle Pass. The Battle Pass straight up give you like high level gear, kind of. You can see on the second level already, it gives you the Bloodshade Harbor Soul Shield. So this comes from the level 48 purple dungeon right here, and just straight up giving you like end game gear, and you just set stuff like that. So like theoretically, I can just buy this battle pass right now and then already get like Bloodshade Harbor Soul Shield. I guess it's the same. I can just buy them off the auction house, so it doesn't make a big difference. You can always just be buying stuff. But the biggest thing from the Battle Pass is of course going to be the Homewood Blessing Recovery Potion. So these are the stamina that you use to clear like dungeon or world boss and stuff like that. And you can get refill from the Battle Pass. And that just means you're going to be able to clear more dungeons and far more dungeon than free-to-play player and stuff like that. On top of, well, you know, just straight up giving you like insignia and gear and stuff like that. One of the things with Neo is that I think they added a lot of these, like what I like to call chase skills. There are things that are not like required to play the game, but they will like increase your DPS and are extremely hard to acquire. Purple Book is probably one of those. It's like if you're playing the regular Blade and Soul, you think like, oh, purple skill is like the highest tier, it's going to be easier to come by eventually. But these go for a lot. You can actually see that someone in the chat right now is selling this purple book, the Lightning Flash, and it's currently going for 15,000 N coin. Right, coming onto the auction house, there's only a single copy of this, and it's currently going for 20,000 N coin. Since the entire auction house revolves around N coin, your path as a free-to-play is going to come down to like farming for rare material, farming for stuff, and then selling them for N coin on the auction house. Then you use that N coin to buy the stuff you want. That might be super expensive and stuff like that. While someone who, you know, is pay to win or whale can just like buy the N coin equivalent from the BNS shop. and then they buy the equivalent material. Now, this model is not necessarily pay to win. This model has worked for a lot of games like Warframe. I believe Warframe you can only trade around like platinum. Maple Stories, there are specific items that you can only buy from cash shop. So free-to-play player has to like farm them other ways and then buy them, specifically cubings. In fact, one of the things with this game is like that it's going to be your Mystic Badge. Mystic Badge is an item that you can only acquire by spending money, right? So Mystic Badge in here, yeah, so the thing when it comes down to Mystic Badge, you can see is that you can only acquire them by spending this Mystic Badge powder currency, and the only way to get this currency is to salvage them from Hongbun Store outfit or Hongbun Store illusion weapon, right? So you have to be buying them, you have to be buying outfit and then salvaging them for your Mystic Badge. And these Mystic Badge are basically like modifier. You can see, for example, like this one reduces cooldown by 2 seconds whenever you cast like a Tiger Strike and stuff like that. And since the only way to acquire Hongbun Store outfit is to spend N coin, someone out there have to spend real money in order for these to even be in the game. And there's no other way to acquire them other than, well, if you're free to play, by selling stuff on the auction house and then buying it off another player who have spent real money for them. As a free-to-play player, your only source of the Mystic Badge fragment is gonna be from your weekly quest, and then you get like 6 to 8 a week, and you need like 20 to exchange for one of these boxes. And keep in mind that this box is like completely RNG, so you can get like low roll and you can get like a desert gray instead of like victorious gray, and you need 20 of these. So on average, it might take you like 2-3 weeks for like 1 chances. Well, for pay to win player, they can have like much more chances to get this box instead. On the other hand, I think the baseline to get like usable item is a lot easier. I think the best weapon in the game for regular player is the Wind Shock weapon, which you can get from this like level 50 mythical level dungeon. However, you can actually get this weapon without ever stepping foot into the dungeon. You can actually just craft this weapon straight up in the transfer menu. You can go down to here, the legendary weapon chest, right? So with a legendary design, you're able to just get the weapon straight away. And you can get this design like a couple of ways. One is by just doing dailies. You can do the faction daily for the Moonwater hero design, and then with 12 of them, you can get the legendary weapon, and it costs you like gold to transmit and stuff like that. Or you can even just straight up craft it. It's available to craft in the Forge Keeper Guild. So you can technically, I believe, get the weapon without ever stepping foot into the dungeon. And I think this is a really big changes. Because historically speaking, one of the biggest problems with MMO is gatekeeping. People would be like, oh, if you don't have the legendary weapon, you can't join our dungeon. But you have to do the dungeon to get the legendary weapon. So it's kind of like a catch-22. So there's a world where like getting the baseline weapon is easy or grindable, and then there's like a chase weapon for the whales and stuff like that where they can chase. And I think a lot of games have this model, like Lost Ark have the S4 weapon that is like totally not required to play the game at all, and it's a free-to-play pleb. You can just go for the regular weapon, but it still means that the whales who can just buy the weapon straight up is always going to be just like miles ahead of you without like doing anything. I think a game can simultaneously be free-to-play friendly as well as pay-to-win. It is obviously somewhat pay-to-win if you can just like straight up buy the best gear in the game. But I think as long as like a free-to-play player can reasonably acquire enough gear to beat all the content in the game, then it's kind of free-to-play friendly in that sense. The biggest issues with the original Blade and Soul is that they introduced Treasure Trove, which basically they directly sell all the in-game material on the shop. On the Korea right now, it seems to be just costume, specifically like just free costume at a time. Oh, this one actually look kind of cool. And Blade and Soul Neo surprisingly have a lot of costume. I think they basically just imported like all the costume from the original game over. Right, so I'm hoping they are able to just, well, A, like sell N coins so people can use the auction house, and B, just sell costume. I think as long as they don't sell material and make the material reasonable to get in the game, then it's like pretty good. realistically speaking, only time can really tell. I haven't been playing on Korea for long at all, so I don't really know how pay to win it really is over time. But from what I have been observing on like people gear, like most people are still running like very like low level budget gear. Like this guy is just running blue tier soul shield with the true silent weapon that you can like relatively easy to acquire. Everyone's just running blue skills, maybe even green skills and stuff like that. And I believe they can already do like most of the end game content just doing it like this.